Welcome back to Absolute Comics, right here at the Comicstorian Podcast Network, twitch.tv/Comicstorian, where we film a lot of this stuff live every Tuesday and Thursday. Today is the first episode of Absolute Comics that will be going on to a side channel that has gotten so big, we wanted to let you guys know we have a podcast, okay? So, I don't know where to start with this, but welcome, Absolutely Marvel and DC people, to the Absolute Comics podcast that has been going on for 3 years. And I want to tell the story why we moved it over here. But before we do that, I got to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by G Fuel. Use the code comics at checkout. Get yourself some Moonberry Moon Knight hydration formula. It's just basically like all those other sports drinks kind of a thing. So I'm going to send that one to you, Sal, because I know you're not a fan of caffeine. So you're going to get that. I've also realized, I don't know if you were intentionally doing this or if you've been doing this for 4 years and I didn't know it. When did I become Jay and you're Silent Bob?
That's how the intro's always worked, man.
I know, but I never
not gonna do that thing. I don't want to be that guy who's just looking into the camera and being totally still, and people are like, "Let's see if he blinks." No, let you do that. You know, they're used to seeing motion from my side of the camera, so.
I never made the connection that that's what you've been doing. I know you don't say anything until I'm done with the intro.
Yeah. No, I definitely got that vibe, especially today.
So let's start off before we get into today's topics, which is going to be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange 2, DC Pride 2022, Easter Egg and Moon Knight, Disney talking about what they're doing with Hawkeye, and then the CW series. I want to first explain why we've decided to move this podcast to this channel. Okay, let's start there. So, almost a year ago now, I think April last year is when we came up with the idea to do this.
Yeah.
Sal and I, we love talking about comics. We also love talking about movies and TV shows. And this podcast was getting jam-packed with us trying to talk about everything. So the idea was, why don't we make a new channel that is entirely focused on movies and TV shows, and we call it Absolutely Marvel and DC. And the idea was that Absolute Comics would be our comic book news discussion show, and Absolutely Marvel and DC would be our TV show and movie channel. And we would do the both of them. And we've now done this for a year. This entire year we've been doing this. And a lot of people don't know that we do both of these. And that, while awesome, is also kind of a problem.
Well, it's like the experiment is now concluded. Here's a show, and I've seen some, not a lot, but some requests for us to make a podcast. Like that was the real indication it was time to move this over. Where people are like, "Dude, this is a pretty good show. Like, you should just do like a long form podcast of this." Like, we've been doing that for years.
So Absolutely Marvel and DC has gotten to the size where, one, people don't know I'm Comicstorian, which is another fun comment we've been getting.
Totally.
Two, they don't know Sal's from Comic Pop. And three, like Sal said, they've been requesting a podcast.
Right? So here you go. Don't say we don't give you anything, because here's a whole show dedicated to comic news. And, it's like a longer version of those videos you enjoy, but more centered around comics in some way. I promise, if you're here for like Marvel movies and stuff, we're always going to talk about that.
Yep.
DC movies,
Easy.
We're always going to talk about that. But we're also going to try and introduce you a little bit to the world of comics, but keep it fresh, so you see we don't get too in the weeds about it.
Right. So basically that's where we are now. We decided we're going to try moving this over and see if you guys enjoy it over here. Now, what does this mean for the Absolute Comics channel, the podcast channel that used to be the Weekly Poll? It used to be Comicstorian TV. We're gonna keep uploading these here so you guys know about the new channel and the move for about a month or two. But the point, one of the big reasons we are deciding to do this is Absolute Comics, the channel, has the same problem that Eligible Monster did, where we've made a whole bunch of new content that we're proud of. But at this point, those channels are so ingrained in some of the older audiences and have so many dead subs on them that they're almost like a death sentence to make content on. So for Eligible Monster, we were doing gameplay videos in Dungeons & Dragons. So we made Dungeons & Ale and we made a gameplay channel, and those are doing great. So when we were discussing Absolute Comics, it was like, well, if people want a podcast on Absolutely Marvel and DC, and people are not connecting the two of these anymore, maybe it's time to move Absolute Comics over here. And the audience from Absolute Comics might like Absolutely Marvel and DC, and the Absolutely Marvel and DC people might like Absolute Comics.
Yeah.
So across the board, it does better for us. And you, the viewer. So,
but we're not going to delete that old channel for a little while anyway. We're not going to get rid of it, but obviously
no.
we're gonna keep simultaneously uploading it to both channels just in case. Because if you hate it, it's just going to go back over there.
Yes, exactly. And for the record, because we already got a comment, Absolute Comics is dead. No, we're just moving its YouTube home. The Spotify home, the iTunes home, all that stuff's going to stay the same. Like nothing's changing.
It's all good.
We're still filming these every Tuesday right here. So if you're watching this live, then this is not changing at all.
Exactly.
But since this does get uploaded later, we had to give an explanation. Even though most of you watching this will change nothing.
Yeah, you probably know anyway. It's for like the 18 of you that are like, I don't know what. I just click and watch. I don't know what's going on.
And yes, to answer the question of does soft rebooting channels really reset their placement in the algorithm? Kind of. YouTube is moving into a space where you make one form of content, and if it does well, then that is what you will only be able to do on the algorithm. Yeah. So the answer to that at this point is, which is hilarious because it's how YouTube started, you make a new channel for everything new you want to do.
Right.
Then they said, no, don't do that. Put it all in one channel. And now they're going back to the old way of make channels for everything you do.
Yeah.
So
they don't know what's going on, man. I tell you.
No.
But now, right now, it's all shorts. They're just like, just make some shorts for God's sake. Please compete with TikTok. Can you?
Hey, I'm loving the response to shorts. Shorts are working. Sadly, for you absolutely Marvel and DC fans who don't watch shorts, they are coming to this channel.
They're happening. But listen, it's 30 seconds. What do you want? Like it's not much.
We're not going to break our normal stream of content. I proved it on Comicstorian. I can do both. There's so many people that were scared when I said Comicstorian is doing shorts, and they're like, "Oh, I only want the long form content." I'm like, "You will get just as much long form content. I'm not stopping this." And
right.
If you got, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Here's the exact reason: shorts don't pay.
Right. They don't at all. Because how can you? I remember we created a shorts channel just dedicated to shorts, and it was like it was doing really well. It was gaining traction, and it was like, this is great news. Once you reach, like 10,000 hours or whatever, you'll be able to enable that monetization. And I'm like, each short is 30 seconds to a minute long. It'll never reach that number.
Exactly. Oh, no. That, on a fun side here, because I've been dabbling in the shorts thing through TikTok, Instagram, all this stuff all over the place now. Shorts, no company has thought of a good way to pay for shorts. They don't pay. What pays is long form content. But shorts bring in new audience members who then go to long form content. So it's become an ecosystem of you need to do long form content to get paid, and you need to do shorts to get new audience members. And there's no way around that right now. So we're stuck dealing with it.
Look, the world of YouTube is an ever evolving monster, and we are but drops in the ocean of this evolving thing. We're just two folks on a raft in the vast ocean that is YouTube, and we are just trying to keep ourselves above water. So
it's just the nature of the business, and I give it about another year, and that's going to go away, and we'll do something else.
Exactly. Shorts will be gone. Just to hang in there for a year. They'll all go away, and they'll be like, you know what really works? 4-hour-long conversational videos.
And we'll be like, really? Because we've still been doing those. We have not stopped.
Oh yeah, no, but not new. No, new people doing it. But let's jump into some topics, shall we?
Oh yeah. So I think we've given you guys all the housekeeping stuff about Absolutely Marvel and DC and Absolute Comics and what's going on. Basically, what we're saying is to run it all down. Everything's doing great, and we want to bring all the audiences together if we can. And if it doesn't work, it's going to stay back in its old home. So
exactly.
All right, so first up on our list here is obviously the Thor Love and Thunder teaser trailer just released, and it looks awesome. But some fans are noting a continuity error with Thor having 2 blue eyes instead of having 1 brown eye, the one that he got from Rocket in Infinity War. Either way, the trailer was awesome, and I'm hyped for the show and wanted to add this so that when you read this, you can promote Absolutely Marvel and DC as well as the cool conversation that you and Sal and Hassan had. So Dan writes our notes.
And he ain't wrong, because we did have a cool conversation that was much more in-depth about, it was basically a trailer breakdown. We just talked about the trailer and our reactions to it, immediate initial reactions to the trailer. But now we've had a day. We can talk more in depth about the fact that like Thor has 2 blue eyes instead of 1 robotic brown eye.
I think they're not even going to mention it. And what'll end up happening is the theories of the MCU fanboys is going to go through and basically be like, oh, this is where it must have happened. I think they're just not even going to care.
I think that the eye thing is indicative. I mean, the thing is, I can't trust Marvel, right? Because Marvel will create new characters, take characters out. Like the trailers are not to be trusted. They're supposed to set a tone, and that's it. They're not indicating plot, story, characters, whatever. They're just there to be like, go see the movie. It's basically just a promo for the movie, which is what a trailer really is. But it's also not going to be like a way for you to comb over it and try and pick up plot points. It's just like, here's something. But I do think, and I think Dan talked about this off mic, and I know you have as well. Based on what we've seen in the trailer, I think that the two eyes being both blue will be addressed in the trailer if they haven't artificially changed the eye, because they did that in Thor Ragnarok's trailer. If you remember, he had two eyes, and then in Thor Ragnarok he had a missing eye, so they just CG'd that.
It's true.
If they
just
haven't
to make you question.
Exactly. So it could just be a weird thing that we're like, we noticed that he's not supposed to have two blue eyes. That's why we gave him two blue eyes, to blow your mind. Or the theory being, we're dealing based on the opening sequence of the trailer. We saw like Thor throughout various stages of his life running. I think we're going to have multiple Thors in this movie, and one of them probably has two blue eyes.
Well, yeah, the theory is that we do have, and that's kind of where I was leading to, I think, and the trailers just are hiding all the extra Thors is what I think is going on.
Yeah. Well, they're hiding them in plain sight, right? Like, I think that, like, Thor with the furs is, like, future Thor or past Thor. Like,
you think it's King Thor?
I think it's either King Thor or it's, like, young Thor during, like, Norse mythology. Like, that's the Thor who received his god status from the Norwegians, and... So we're seeing, because there's a shot where he's wearing his Infinity War armor, and it's just like, what?
Right.
And so
it makes sense. Yeah.
I think you're just gonna have like 3 or 4 different Thors from different time periods, and they're all gonna have to either team up or whatever. I don't know. We're gonna get a Thor Corps in Thor 4 fighting Gore.
Did you just write that unintentionally?
No, I did it all intentionally. It was.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the movie could be called The Four. Wasted opportunity. Put the 4 where the H should be.
Yeah, why didn't they? I mean, Fan Four-Stick totally worked out well.
Fan Four-Stick did that. Thor 4. And then, if they have multiple Thors, Thor 5 can be Thor, but instead of S, it's a 5. They're never going to do that. I think those days are over. I think Scrithream kind of killed all those.
I mean, Fan Four-Stick was Scrithream. Was that after Fan Four-Stick?
I don't know. I think Scrithream came first, then Fan Four-Stick, maybe Scriform, because it was Screeform, because I think they made the 4.
On a side note, I finally saw the Scream reboot / not a reboot.
How is it? I never
it's really
saw
good,
it.
Actually. It's actually really good. Yeah, I actually liked it. If
Cool.
you like slasher flicks, like you gotta know, hey, I'm about to watch a slasher flick about a guy that is murdering people.
Right.
No superpowers. It's just a murderer.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I always liked the first Scream.
I mean,
I saw the
good
first
franchise.
I've been down 2 more,
So, all right, next up we've got Doctor Strange 2 director Sam Raimi explains that he always considered Doctor Strange a second or third tier character behind characters like Spider-Man, Captain America, Thor, etc., and wants to give the character his time to shine and rise in the rankings. So be prepared for some crazy shit in Multiverse of Madness, which is now only 2 weeks away. Reminder, Dan writes these notes.
Right. Dang. I forgot about that. That's so exciting. This movie's going to be huge, hopefully. I don't blame him. I've always also thought that.
I literally had a talk today with my barber, which is how I fixed my 90s haircut finally.
Oh, nice.
I had a comment because I've got multiple videos on this channel.
Oh yeah, you cut it down. Is it all gone?
No. It's still the same length.
Okay.
But since I got the business meeting next week, I was like,
clean it up.
Can you modernize it so I can still grow it?
Right.
But I don't look like I belong on Home Improvement from the 90s. So it's still just as long, and I could part it down the middle, but we shaved down the sides, and it's more just pushed back now. So
excellent. All right, cool.
It's only doing this at the moment because of the headphones. It does get pushed back. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no, it's funny because I had to talk with my barber today, and he was like, Doctor Strange looks really good. I always thought that was a shitty character. But he's your general audience.
Exactly.
Like, he's the guy that doesn't know how the continuities work. He's the guy that texts me going, which continuity is Batman in? And I responded with, who the fuck knows? Enjoy. But
yeah, nobody knows, nobody cares. It's fine.
So that, I mean, like, he is that demographic that they're aiming for, where they're like, no, Doctor Strange is cool. And he said he liked the first one, but he only saw it because he had to. So I think they're trying to get people to go watch that second one, basically, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I think, you know, Sam Raimi only dropped one other Marvel character reference in the original Raimi Spider-Man movies, and it was Doctor Strange. I always assumed that meant he had an affinity for the character. It could be that he was using it as an anecdotal thing where he's just like, you know, I always considered him a second or third tier character because they always treated him like that. I don't know. I will say Marvel always treated him that way, with notable exceptions being the creative teams that had him, except for the 90s. But like,
Right.
Otherwise, when people jump on Doctor Strange, like, they love that character and they want to do something really cool with him. I hope that that's what we get. It's a nice indication, I think, because Multiverse of Madness looks like they're gonna like it retroactively is becoming a No Way Home for Marvel, where they're like, we got a No Way Home up Doctor Strange 2, put everything in there. I hope that it's instead like a secret Doctor Strange 2 movie where it's a movie about that character and it's just his journey.
Yeah.
And also there's some fun cameos in there. We'll see, though.
All right. I'm excited for Doctor Strange too, because I'm actually, not because of Doctor Strange. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't give a crap about Doctor Strange. Out of all the superheroes, I will read his book. I will read him in things. If he were to disappear tomorrow, I would not be upset. Like, it's just, like, he's just, it falls into that weird, there's a lot of superheroes that fall into that for me. It's not just Doctor Strange.
Right. I'll be honest with you, man. Marvel, with the way Marvel treats Doctor Strange, it's almost like they've been working on we're like trying to make it that way.
Yeah,
so
where he can just disappear at any point. Like,
exactly.
No one else in the Marvel universe even references him until they need him.
Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man gets just generic references, and Hulk gets generic references. Doctor Strange just doesn't exist until, hey, we got to do a magic thing. Does anyone know where Strange is? Like,
literally, yeah, that's usually what it is, where they're like, they treat Doctor Strange like their State Farm agent. They're just like, hey, we need Strange, like, right now.
Marvel's Avengers announced that Mighty Thor will be the new superhero entering that video game. And I guess during some discussions elsewhere, people were asking, why doesn't Doctor Strange exist? And the developer said, magic powers don't work in our universe that we've made. So, like,
what?
I wonder if that's the general Marvel mentality of like, well, Doctor Strange doesn't work. Like,
that it could be, but like, that sucks. Because you know what? He was in Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, and he was great.
DC kind of does that too, though. How often does DC dip into its magic side?
Never. Oh, well, you know, if they do, it's usually like they got Justice League Dark. They never really do anything with Doctor Strange, or Dr. Fate, I should say, on their side.
He just shows up like, oh God, it's Fate! Like,
right, and even then, like, which one are you? There's a lot of people under that helmet sometimes. And then there's Zatanna, you know. But
Zatanna and Constantine are the only thing that dabble in the magical realm, like, on a consistent basis. And even that's not consistent.
No.
Like,
no, and you know, they tried. You know, Constantine's the one they tried the hardest with, and Hellblazer got canceled. So, you know, it just doesn't sell.
They tried the soft reboot where he like softened him for New 52. They tried the harder reboot. They tried a black label Hellblazer. They just couldn't get it to work. So
they just can't. Yeah, well, I think they just should have lower expectations about the audience, because magic is a very niche subject. But you know.
All right. So moving on next, we've got DC Pride 2002 is going to bring a character from the Batman, the Bold and the Brave, going to bring him into the main continuity. So this has happened to DC a lot. They take a cartoon character, they put him into the main continuity. This one is the Music Meister, who's portrayed by Neil Patrick Harris in the show. He'll be appearing in the canon anthology comic as an opponent for Connor Hawke in his story focused around his journey coming out as asexual.
Okay. I remember that episode. Music Meister's amazing. It's fun to get everybody singing in those episodes. Brave and the Bold is a show that I really turned around on. I was like, oh God, Dietrich Bader, lame. Then I watched an episode and I'm like, oh, this is great.
I got to check that one out. I keep meaning to. So I have a question about this Connor Hawke coming out as asexual thing.
Right, of course.
Connor Hawke is one of the characters that I've known about and known nothing else ever about. Like, I've known he exists. And then DC just threw him away.
Absolutely. That's exactly what he is. Yeah, you're totally right. Like, your description of him is accurate.
Yeah, like, I know, like, oh, he's Green Arrow's son. When was he introduced? Like the 80s, I think? I don't even know. The dude hasn't been around in forever.
I thought it was the 90s, but it doesn't matter. Like, the fact is, both Connor Hawke fans I feel so bad for because they are because it's like being a Tim Drake fan, where it's like there was this very narrow window of time when Connor Hawke was a thing and he was really good and he appealed to the demographic he was catered towards.
Yeah.
And then there was a shakeup in management, and as they led towards New 52, they didn't have any room or reverence for either Connor Hawke or Tim Drake in any real way outside of knowing that there's a fan base to exploit. Connor Hawke is just a casualty of, I can't really endorse this character from a executive level because it ages Green Arrow.
Yeah. And Tim Drake is another one who kind of got pushed to the side.
Big time.
So they recently had Tim Drake come out as bisexual. And I feel like everyone, I know the argument, get woke, go broke. I know all that stupid shit. Like, just shut up.
Yeah.
I don't care. That's not the argument here. I think the reason they're doing this, and Connor Hawke now being asexual, is to give them some kind of identity that makes them stand out. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate because there are the Tim Drake fans and there are the Connor Hawke fans.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at is, as far as I know about Connor Hawke, he's never been in much or had much of a relationship. Like, at least Tim Drake, everyone was like, well, what about spoiler? You know what I mean? Like, that was at least a thing.
No, I agree. Oh, plus Ariana, don't forget her. I am a Tim Drake fan. But Connor, I admit I don't know much about Connor. And
because he wasn't around very long.
Well, I'm not a Green Arrow fan, so I'm not going to be a big fan of that other Green Arrow. So
I am a Green Arrow fan, and I like the more recent portrayals of Green Arrow where they kind of get. My favorite was that Outsiders War, where he got a sister and they kept her around, and it wasn't the lame one from the TV show. They're like, oh, he has a sister in the TV show, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna make her cool over here, though.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I don't like the idea. I don't know. It's a shame that sexuality for a fictional character is like a thing that gets clicks and headlines and is making that decision to address this. I hope it's not made for sales. I mean, I think it is, but like, I hope it isn't just like, well, we're just gonna get a bunch of eyes on this character and book, so let's just make this let's just address this now.
I don't think it is just for the sales, because Connor Hawke got recently reintroduced in Robin by Joshua Williamson.
Right.
And Connor Hawke hasn't been around. Now, the Tim Drake thing, you can argue. The writer who was writing that, because I've seen her tweets, she wanted to tell a story about somebody coming out as bisexual. Yes. And I could see DC going, Tim Drake does nothing. Would you like to make him bisexual?
Big
or
time.
Sales? That I could totally see happening, because the story that she's telling could kind of work for any superhero. Like, it doesn't have to be Tim Drake.
No, absolutely. Yep.
But I feel like Connor Hawke may have been brought back for this purpose, as opposed to kind of being handed this purpose.
As I recall, Connor Hawke returns in a big way under the Josh Williamson Robin series, and I think that it was because Williamson is a fan and likes that character. Was like, let's resurrect Connor. Let's resurrect in terms of cultural consciousness. Let's bring Connor Hawke to the fore and showcase how cool he is, and maybe get some new fans for him just by because the Robin series, the Lazarus tournament, was just like, look at all these fun action figures you could play with, and like just showing like a bunch of characters off and watching them fight, like showing off their action feature.
I mean, it was a Mortal Kombat plot. Yeah, that was the whole thing.
Exactly.
Connor Hawke was introduced into that series. Unless I've missed something in the recent Robin issue, because I have pretty caught up in those series. Yeah, they've not explained if he actually has any relevance to Green Arrow. I know they've implied it, and they've done like the after image thing.
Yeah,
but he shows up because he was convinced by a cult that he was the only one that could stop the demon that was going to be resurrected on the island.
Right.
The demon arrives, rips his heart out, immediately kills him. So, like,
of course,
but it's an island of resurrection, so he immediately comes back. You know, like,
yeah. I think that Williamson, if Williamson's writing it, the history's there. Like, the history's implied. We'll see what happens. But you know, DC Pride is a series that, like, you know, it's a one-issue book that comes out every once in a while, every
Pride
year.
Month. I thought it was Pride Month. Yeah,
there you go. I think it's a cool idea. It's a nice initiative. So
I think it's a great idea, because it does show you that there is a side of DC where this type of character can exist if you want them.
Right. Exactly.
Like, because they're, regardless of my opinion of not caring about most superheroes' heterosexual relationship, never mind their LGBTQ relationship. I don't care about either one of those, because I'm not reading romance novels. But regardless of my opinion, there are people who like that and want that representation, and they want that to be a part of the story.
Totally.
So it's cool that they have that.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, no. The only time, I do like the drama, like the melodrama, but only in the characters that I've already been reading. It's tough to get me into a new melodrama situation about like sexuality and identity.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, and most of the characters I read don't even keep up with their own relationships. I mean, how many times does the Flash vanish and then like out of the blue, 10 issues later, Iris is a thing.
Right. Don't forget, I have a whole, as for Wally being like, I got a family.
Yeah, like Wally goes off and like disappears for 20 years. And he's like, by the way, I have Linda and a kid and 2 kids.
Yeah.
And they've also got powers.
Right. Yes, of course.
And then I think the collective audience is like, right, Wally has a wife and kids.
Yeah. 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 People, that's true.
All right, next up, we got an Easter egg in Moon Knight episode 3 connects the character Kang the Conqueror. During a fight in the episode, one of Marv's opponents, Mark, you and your notes. One of Marv Spector's opponents has jacked that design from Rama Tut on his back. Rama Tut, of course, being one of the many identities of Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's kind of
I did not either.
Makes sense. Kang is a character that like they are clearly leaning towards, heading towards, building towards. They've cast him. He's in Ant-Man 3, maybe. I don't know.
It's too bad he hasn't shown up yet. I mean,
yes, he's in Loki. But yeah, man, I think it's a great idea. Ramatut's a good pull, and one you could easily just kind of put into, especially a book about pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah,
go and gods and whatnot. Yeah, definitely put that in there. It's great. I didn't notice that. I can't believe I didn't catch that.
No, I didn't either. But yeah, that's awesome.
Dope.
Which means I'm wrong because I did a podcast with those guys talking about Moon Knight. Yeah. And I straight up said, I'm pretty sure Ramatut is not going to show up at all. I don't like, and they're like, no, he will. Because, those guys like to speculate like crazy.
Big time. Yeah. I don't think, he doesn't show up, but clearly there's a reference to him, which is pretty cool.
Disney has now decided that Hawkeye is going to be placed into limited series category, meaning that the Disney Plus show will likely not have a second series. Sad, but at the same time, where would they have gone with it? Like,
they could have explored. It could have been more about Kate. It could have been, that's what's his name, Jeremy Renner, like passing the torch or the bow.
But I feel like all of that was kind of done in this one.
It was all done. Like, no one's sad.
I think that's the worst part. The problem with Hawkeye, out of all the shows, like WandaVision was kind of like an experiment kind of show. Falcon Winter Soldier was literally just an extended movie. Loki was kind of an experimental kind of show. Like, can we make it almost like Doctor Who?
Yeah.
What was the other one they did? What If was an experimental type of show where they tried something new.
That's getting another season though.
Yeah, well, I mean that would make sense. And then what was the other show they came out with, or was it Hawkeye after that?
Well, it was WandaVision, Falcon, What If, Hawkeye, and Loki.
Okay. But Hawkeye, out of all of them, felt like just the safest. Can we just make an action sitcom kind of thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, which I don't think anybody was complaining about. I mean, who wouldn't want to?
But it also didn't blow up anything. Like nobody was talking about Hawkeye after it was over.
No,
people still bring up WandaVision and Loki. No one talks about Falcon, and no one talks about Hawkeye.
Yeah. No, and I loved that Captain America show, so I was all on board on that. Hawkeye I also enjoyed, but mostly because of like. I like Kate Bishop. I love Haley Steinfeld's portrayal of the character.
Yep. I think she does a great job.
Who doesn't want to see Fraction and Aja's like book on screen plus Kingpin? That alone was a lot of fun. Especially it was a nice holiday treat for all of us.
I forgot that's where they reintroduced him and we knew things were coming. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not surprised, nor am I disappointed. I'm like, yeah, all right. The next time I want to see Hawkeye is in like an Avengers movie or something. Come on.
Yeah. All right, and the next up, in the ultimate, we're desperate, please watch our show. The new CW series, Gotham Knights, is in the works. A series set in the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder that will include characters such as Harper Row, Stephanie Brown, Carrie Kelly, Harvey, and Dula Dent, and more. However, a recent video has possibly spoiled that the show might actually show more of Bruce Wayne in the early episodes instead of simply killing him off.
Ugh. What a... This is why I don't watch CW shows, man.
This also tells you that CW is left with like literally the scraps, that HBO grabbed every known name.
Yeah.
And CW is like, okay, we got to keep Flash going because no one's watching anything else.
Right. And I gotta make some kind of bat show. I mean, honestly, you could do like any Bat character that isn't related to Batman. You could do a really dope Cassandra Cain show. You could
Yeah.
do a really cool Harper Row show. And have Batman looming in the background or maybe implied. You don't have to kill him off. Like Harper has been used and discarded by the Bat family. She's barely a footnote in that universe. And if you want to just set up like nobody does anything in this one neighborhood, I take care of it. Or like you want to build up to Cassie, kind of like mute character and her whole origins and her supervillain dad. Like there's a lot of cool stuff there that you could mine. You have to throw the effing kitchen sink at a show. Be like, everyone's in it. Like, don't bring Carrie into this. Don't ruin Carrie Kelly with your horrible CW treatments.
It literally sounds like they're pulling the bottom of the barrel, because if you think about it, it's like, oh, well, Batman show. They did Batwoman.
Right.
Batgirl's going to be in a movie.
Yeah.
All the Robins except for Damian have shown up over in the Titan show, which HBO owns and is continuing.
Yeah.
Damian has shown up in Young Justice. They're literally putting in the characters who you could tell HBO's like, no, we're not going to touch Harper Row, Stephanie Brown, Carrie Kelly. Because you know who's not in there either? Orphan.
No.
Where's Cassie?
No. And Cassie's not in it because she was in Birds of Prey.
That's what I mean. So you can tell that DC is like, okay, CW, this is the list of characters we will not touch. And CW was like, who's related to Batman? Like,
whoever is Batman, just throw them in that. Just put them all in one show. You could do a dope Spectre show or a Question show or a like hell. You could do like a depowered. You could do the Teen Lantern show.
Yeah.
Just
they're doing Naomi, Stargirl, Superman, and Lois and Flash. Those are the ones they have right now.
Yeah. I haven't watched more than a minute or two of Naomi, but that's a show you can make.
I have not even watched 1 minute of it.
Well, I read
the moment that I heard they're not going to have Superman in the universe, which completely changes everything about Naomi.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't feel like exploring that.
I think he's in it. Like, I think they do. I think he is in it. Like, at least from the promo I saw. Like, not that he's in it. Like, it's Tyler Hoach and from, it's just, there is, Superman does exist in that universe. He's not going to show up in it, but he is in it, kind of.
No, I don't think he is. I think they put her in another universe. I think that was the whole thing.
Great. Hell, you could do some cool Wonder Girl shows. You could do something with Cassie Sandsmark or
okay.
Donna
Apparently,
Troy.
she's referenced in there.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be the one tied to anything else.
No. I don't think Naomi is in the Smallville or whatever show that is. Lois and Superman show.
Yeah.
But there is a Superman in that universe. Like there's another Superman who's in that who inspires her to be Naomi.
Right. So, well, at least they kept him in. Like,
yeah. No, I'm glad they did because there's nothing left if you do that.
If you just remove him.
If you removed him, it's like, what are you even doing?
I just don't understand why they're doing this, because they tried this with Batwoman, and it kind of worked with Ruby Rose. They lost Ruby Rose, and that show just went in all kinds of who wants to watch this direction.
Yeah.
And now, instead of, again, trying to get a significant Batman character or getting something that they can run with, they're just doing a who's left kind of a situation.
Yeah, the dollar menu of Batman shows. Just here's all these characters, put them all.
I'm surprised Clown Hunter's not announced for this.
Right? That's a show. Like, all these characters could get a show. Clown Hunter could have a show. Punchline could have a show. Punchline should have a show. And it would make sense for CW.
It would, because I doubt she's going to get a show anywhere else, and she's a fan favorite right now. So,
and like, instead of Batman being the looming character that you're wondering will they, won't they show up, Joker is the looming character. Will they, won't they show up? Like,
won't they? It won't. He won't.
No, he won't. He won't. He won't. But you'll trick yourself every week into watching just in case he might.
Ghost Hunter is another one that could easily. Have you brought up a good one?
Ghost Maker, Ghost Hunter. Ghost Hunter's the show about guys in basements with like EMF readers.
That's my end goal, Sal. When we're done with these podcasting, we're just doing ghost. When we're done with this, an Absolute Comics / Marvel and DC has made us so much money.
Yeah,
we will then retire, get a van that we're not allowed near any schools, and go ghost hunting.
Dude, are you kidding me? My wife would. That's her retirement.
That's
plan.
our new career. That's our new career. She
loves that. Yeah, it's like, it's not ghosts, it's leaky pipes. Again, as always, there's a gas leak. You're killing yourself slowly. There's a carbon monoxide leak. It's not ghosts. Again. Dude, yeah. That's a great idea.
And then we'll film that for you guys as well. So you guys can watch along. Did we find a ghost this time?
No! Spoilers! Ghosts aren't real. Let's see who I
ghost
piss off by
facers.
saying that.
Hey, I believe ghosts are real.
Right?
Why do you got to be mean to me?
Do you really?
I do. Also, let me tell you about how flat the world is.
Oh no! Well,
I don't know if I believe so much entirely, like all jokes aside, I don't know if I so much believe in ghosts, but I do believe that there's unexplained things happening that due to science, we can probably explain.
You have a fascination with the paranormal.
Yes, I like
that
paranormal.
you believe in ghosts.
But I've not seen any direct evidence of a ghost, but I'm not against the idea that that could exist.
Right.
But it's like aliens. Like I want to think aliens exist.
Yes.
But other than people claiming they got kidnapped on the back roads of Arkansas, we have no evidence.
No. I am open-minded enough to be like, I'm an agnostic when it comes to the paranormal. I want ghosts and aliens to exist. They don't though. I mean, aliens.
You guys want Conspiracy Cast 2.0? Now it's just me and Sal talking about all the paranormal stuff.
Yeah, just don't say. It's the Paracast. Don't call it conspiracy, so YouTube doesn't freak out.
Did we just make another show, Sal?
Are we doing another show?
That Paracast will go on the old Absolute Comics channel, so it's not dead.
There we go. Yeah, it'll replace this. No, we can bring back the other one, Tales of Earth. Just change all the tags.
Yeah, no, that'll work.
Anyway.
Yeah, they want us to do that, Sal. But just a heads up, I want to make sure you guys know.
It's a show about two guys that don't believe in ghosts.
I was going to say, hold on.
Ghosts.
I want to clarify real quick. If we did find time to do this show, all of you in the chat are asking for a show with two guys who are going to poke holes in everything.
Right. Like, hey, this guy says he saw Bigfoot. Well, he didn't. Cool.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm 100% on board to discuss paranormal with Sal. Just be aware what you guys are asking for.
Right. It's the show's called Nope with Sal and Benny. No, they didn't.
Dude, I really think you just developed a show. We can totally get that on Spotify. We totally could.
Just no, that didn't happen with Benny and Sal.
We don't have much we're filming on Monday. Let's film that.
There we go. There, now I'm working every single day of the week.
Anyway, that's all we got for today, guys. If you're watching this in Absolutely Marvel and DC, here's the podcast you asked for. It's literally the show we've been doing for 5 years, 3 years.
Oh,
3 years.
Enjoy. Yeah, hopefully you like it.
And if you're watching this on the Absolute Comics channel, it is not being removed. Don't worry. It'll be coming out here for quite a while still to let you know Absolutely Marvel and DC is kind of like where all of this Absolute brand stuff is going to end up. So if it all works out. I mean, we're going to find out, but we're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot and stop uploading over here.
Exactly.
We already have problems remembering to upload in general, so we're not going to...
We've done this long enough. We know how to cover our butts.
And I think that's all I got. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, G Fuel. Check out Comic Pop. Check out Comicstorian. Check out Absolutely Marvel and DC if you're watching this elsewhere. And if you're watching this on iTunes or Spotify, please consider giving us a 5-star rating. I finally discovered how to see how many views we're getting. And we need to get this up there with Comics Experiment, guys. Come on up.